Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks for tuning in today. You'll be glad you did, because we're talking about an issue that a lot of people don't know much about: Black maternal health. For example, did you know that in America, Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related issues than white women? Black women are also at increased risk from complications from pregnancy-related issues. The same thing holds true for Black babies. My guests today are Heather and Demitri Wilson, who suffered incredible loss but have used their pain to help so many other people. Welcome to you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
So Heather, tell us what happened when you became pregnant with your daughter Kennedy.
So I had somewhat of a normal pregnancy in the beginning, but around my 2nd trimester, I developed preeclampsia, and things truly took a turn for the worse. I was put on bed rest and being monitored, but unfortunately, my daughter didn't make it. I suffered from a placenta abruption. So it's been a journey, and it's something that has helped us to birth this pain into passion, for sure.
And what you realized from that horrible experience was that so many other women, couples, go through the same thing. The numbers are really quite shocking. For example, in the hospital where you were with Kennedy, apparently there's a death every day of the month.
Oh, yeah. The numbers are alarming. Norfolk General, the hospital that's closest to us, they have an average of 25 stillbirths a month. So that is, it's almost as many as a baby a day in that one hospital. But it was truly when we started to talk about our story that we learned how many women are affected and how many families are affected.
And what I found really interesting was there is a need regarding stillbirths that was not being tapped into. And you have sort of filled this need, and the need is women, couples who lose a baby in the hospital, they are undergoing excruciating grief, and there really isn't much to help them with it. What was your experience?
So my experience was, a lot of it is a blur. My husband has more of a memory of what happened, because I actually was also close to death when I lost her. But I can tell you that shock, anger, grief, sadness, the pain, just every emotion you can think of, you experience in those first moments of learning that your child has passed on.
And what intensified it was you could hear the cries of joy of all the other people on the maternity ward who actually had given birth.
Yeah.
And it's so painful, because it's supposed to be the most beautiful moment of your life. Childbirth, and to bring a beautiful baby girl into this world, and for that to be taken away, is just, you're in a world you just didn't think that something like that could ever happen. You truly did, and now you're in the hospital going through this just tragic, painful moment, and to experience that while other beautiful babies are being born, and just the joy. It's such a contrast. It's such joy on one end to hear it, and as it should. It's a beautiful moment for new parents, but you're on the other side of that, and it's very painful. Very painful.
So you used your pain, and you realized that there really wasn't much for you, and have created this wonderful nonprofit called Kennedy's Angel Gowns to help people who have lost children during pregnancy. And one of the first things you realized is that your sweet little daughter needed to be buried, and she didn't have anything to wear.
Yeah. So I was full term with Kennedy, and so she was around 5 pounds, so full term baby. And my husband, I can remember my husband and my mom went out because I was just still struggling in the hospital, to find her something, and they went from store to store, every baby department. I mean, even tried doll clothes, and nothing would fit her or would be appropriate for burial.
You want to bury your daughter, even though it's hard to even just to fathom that, from you're going to a hospital to have that beautiful moment, and now it's changed, and now you're looking for something to bury your daughter in. But with that, I wanted her to be, and I know she would want the most beautiful outfit that we could find.
Yeah, of course.
And that was tough. That was tough, obviously, just going through that moment, but to try and find something that you know would fit her, something beautiful. And it was really tough for me and her mother, who was actually with me when we were looking around and shopping to try and find something that would fit her, that would be perfect for her.
An angel gown. And so you, because of that, you decided you're not the only one who has suffered this tremendous loss and needs something perfect and beautiful and special to bury your child in. And so you created Kennedy's Angel Gowns. And these are burial gowns for babies who were lost during pregnancy. And what is really spectacular is they're often made out of wedding dresses that people have donated. Can you share some of them with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more beautiful.
So, you know, these are all different sizes too, because some of the children are lost when they're very, very small.
Yeah. So they're made from donated wedding dresses. You can see all of the lace, all of the fabric. We make them for girls and for boys, and they come in all different sizes. They're made with love. We pray over them as we make them. It was just me making them, and it grew.
So who makes them?
So we have volunteers. We have about 75 volunteers that come in and help us to make these gowns. There are some people who don't have the skill or craft to sew, and they help us take the wedding gowns apart. And we literally just have 3 separate rooms where we work together to get these gowns made. And we even help with babies that are smaller term, just the ones that are a little bit smaller so that they can fit inside of these pockets and the mom and dad can still hold their baby. So, because it's something about that empty arm syndrome that you just want to hold your baby when they are first born, and so this allows for even the smaller babies to be held.
It's an incredible ministry that you have. So talk about some of the needs. You make these gorgeous gowns out of wedding dresses, and people donate the wedding dresses, but apparently you have enough dresses, but you have other needs.
Yeah, we do. We have, we always need volunteers, but the biggest struggle that we've run into is financial help, funding. There aren't a lot of grants for child loss or pregnancy and infant loss. So a lot of times we'll give gowns to families and they'll say, this is beautiful and it's perfect, thank you so much. But we don't have the money to bury our baby.
Exactly.
So that becomes a need as well. And sometimes we're helping families out of our own pocket, and it would just be helpful if we had the financial means to help every family that came to us during a tragic time.
And so you need help as far as donations. Where can people donate? Where can people get more information about Kennedy's Angel Gowns?
So we're on, of course, all social media outlets, but we also have a website, which is www.kennedysangelgowns.org.
And so donations to help people pay for their burials of their children that they lose during pregnancy. And how far is your reach? Is it in Virginia, in all the United States, outside of the U.S.?
So right now we're outside of the United States, all over the United States, and we've also delivered gowns to about 3 countries outside of the United States. So yeah, I guess you can say we're international with the gowns. We try to help wherever there's a need, and we get calls all the time. So you asked about how many. We're averaging about 4 babies that we help with gowns per week. Right
4
now.
per week.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with more from Heather and Demitri Wilson, who founded Kennedy's Angel Gowns. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Living, and we're continuing our discussion with Heather and Demitri Wilson, the founders of Kennedy's Angel Gowns, named after their daughter Kennedy, who was lost during pregnancy. And now they have turned this pain into a wonderful ministry to minister to people who have also lost children during pregnancy. And it's not just the burial clothing that you provide, but also sometimes assistance with paying for the burials, and then also these cooling chambers. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, what we determined, and during that time, even though when Kennedy was born, she was a beautiful, beautiful baby girl. And what I miss the most, I regret, is not having more time to be with her, because that gift of just holding your baby, I held her at every moment that I could. And as with any rotation, it's 2 days and then you're leaving the facility. And what's the saddest part about it is she's still going through that natural death progression. So she's not in the room with you, because she's obviously going to the morgue during those times to keep her at a certain temperature. And with that, you can't slow down time. So doing research, we discovered that there was a device, a cuddle cot, that was available in Europe that provides the gift of time. It's a cooling device. It looks like essentially a bassinet that you can not only keep the child or keep your beautiful baby boy or girl in the room with you, but it also allows you 4 to 5 days versus the normal 2 or 1 to 2 days with the natural death progression. So it's to be able to hold your child in your hand. And it's not just for us, because our family members, they wanted so much to see our beautiful baby girl. So, and then if you have family that's coming from out of time, it allows them to get there to also experience that joy. And I know some ladies say the joy, it's still a joy to be able to hold my baby girl in my hands. And I would have loved to have more time to do it. And that's what the cuddle cots provide.
That is so amazing. I mean, people don't realize that's just a fact that, the babies are taken away and taken down to the morgue where it's cold, because they need to be cold.
Yes.
This is all scientific. It's difficult to talk about it, but it's a reality.
It is the reality.
And so what you're doing is you're bringing these little cooling chambers so that they can be, the child can be in the little chamber with the mom, and the parents and the relatives can take the child out. For up to 5 days.
Up to 5 days. And you think about how crucial it is, the moments that you have after a stillbirth or after your baby tragically passes away. You just think about, the pictures you want to take, all those characteristics that you've waited to see, and all of the memories of the footprints, molds, all of that. You get the opportunity to have the gift of time to take care of all of that and make those memories, because
it's
essentially,
without that, those moments are rushed, because you don't have that time.
This is really amazing. So you provide these to hospitals. Number one, how much are they?
So they're around $5,000, and we've donated so far 12 of them.
To hospitals around the country?
Locally.
So all of Hampton Roads hospitals, and then 1 in Georgia, 2 in North Carolina, and the end of this month, 1 in Rhode Island.
So $5,000 each, and I should probably say for our viewers, when she talks about Hampton Roads, we are in the Virginia Beach area. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, 7 cities, and it's called Hampton Roads, and that's where we are right now. So you started here, and now you're branching out. $5,000 a pop. So you really need donations for these.
We would like to have one in every hospital in the country.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised that hospitals don't have them.
They don't.
See, there again, this is a need that has not been met within the medical community.
Yeah, it's essential, especially at the rate of stillbirth in the United States. It definitely should be one in every hospital.
So this is another reason that you so desperately need help and donations. And how do you go about discussing this with the hospital, presenting it to them? Are they grateful for it, or are they a little bit trepidatious?
They're so grateful. And typically you'll find that the nursing staff had already researched it. And then when we come to say we want to donate it, they're like, oh my goodness. We were trying to find a way to get these in the hospital.
They truly see the need. The nurses, they truly see the need, having direct contact with the parents that go through this. And they see how that could be such a positive impact to give the parents more time to spend with their baby girl or boy.
And in Norfolk General, for instance, that in our hospital, our local hospital, it's more of a trauma hospital. We were able to put a butterfly suite, which is kind of a bereavement suite, because one thing we did notice was that we would hear the cries of the other babies, and it kind of triggered us when we had lost Kennedy. we would see the It's a Girl, It's a Boy balloons, and it was just something that stuck out. And so we designed what's essentially a private space to grieve for that family, and it has one of those devices located in that space.
Almost like a little chapel.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Wonderful. It's wonderful. A bereavement suite. Well, we're going to take another quick break and be right back with Dimitri and Heather Wilson to talk more about Black maternal health. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Living, and we're continuing our discussion with Heather and Demitri Wilson, the co-founders of Kennedy's Angel Gowns. And even though we're discussing Black maternal health, I should point out that Kennedy's Angel Gowns and the things that you provide are for all people.
Oh, definitely.
All people.
Definitely.
And so you mentioned the cooling chambers and the burial clothes, and now you are also a bereavement doula.
Yes.
That is a fantastic and very necessary service. What is it?
So it is all things support and advocacy. It's something that I wish I had by my side when I lost Kennedy. When you lose a child in that way, you don't know who to turn to, you don't know what to do or even how to function. So a bereavement doula steps in to provide all of the natural support that you're gonna need, and that's even through delivery. When you know that the baby is no longer living and that you're delivering a stillbirth, you're going to need a coach. You're going to need that birthing coach to help you through, to keep you strong, and to keep you focused on what's going to happen when the baby comes out and how you're going to honor your baby. And even those days after postpartum, what does it look like when your due date actually arrives, or your first birthday without the baby, or holiday without the baby? And so the bereavement doulas serve as a full package of support before, during birth, and even after.
Are there very many bereavement doulas?
It's something that's new. You've probably heard of death doulas with adults, so the bereavement doulas is fairly new, but it's something that is spreading with the highlights of how bad the Black maternal health crisis is. You are seeing a lot more bereavement doulas pop up, which is essential. We were blessed enough to have a graduating class of 15, so we're training more bereavement doulas so that we can support all of the local hospitals.
So if people would like more information on how to become a bereavement doula, they can go to your website?
Absolutely.
Kennedy'sAngelGowns.com.
Kennedy'sAngelGowns.org.
.org. All right. Kennedy'sAngelGowns.org.
Yep.
So you were talking about Black maternal health. You had preeclampsia, and then you had a horrific, you had preeclampsia with Kennedy, lost Kennedy, had a very difficult time, preeclampsia again with your second pregnancy, and had so much actual racism that you changed doctors, and your story sort of triggered a movement that you actually went to the White House for a roundtable discussion with Vice President Kamala Harris to discuss this issue of Black maternal health, about, you know, what's happening with Black women and the childbirth process.
Yeah, it was really important. When I went through it and opened up about my story and found that I wasn't alone, it was instantly, I have to make change. I have to be a voice to the voiceless, and I have to prevent this from happening to anyone else. To switch doctors at 6 months pregnant was probably one of the scariest things we've ever done, because the year before we had lost our child. So it was weighing on us, but with the racism that we experienced, there was no way that we could spend another day there, because we definitely knew we needed to bring this baby home alive.
And thank God you did.
Yeah.
But you know, research has shown that medical students and medical residents have false beliefs about Black people versus white people.
Yeah.
That was back in 2016 when that research came out, and fortunately medical schools are now teaching racial justice and how to overcome racial bias, and there are strides being made, but a lot more work needs to be done. We're going to take another quick break and be right back with more with Heather and Demitri Wilson. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Living, and we're talking about Black maternal health. And we know that Black women have particularly high rates of preeclampsia, which is what you had, also fibroids. So there are some health issues there, lack of adequate health care. But then there's also the other component to the racism. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's the reason that our work was led to the White House, because the bias, racial bias, and just not just me, but other women having similarities, saying they weren't heard or listened to, or when they started to advocate for themselves, they were deemed as angry. So it is all of that. It's comprised of all of that, of just literally not feeling like you are heard or you're important enough to be heard.
And this is something that many women talk about, and you actually started went onto social media and were just flooded with similar stories, right?
Yeah, we get stories all the time of families that sometimes the family members, because that mom didn't survive, but they want to reach out to know, what's your story? How can I make a difference? How can I help? Because everyone's not making it out of the hospital, not just the babies, but the moms, at alarming rates.
For example, you had preeclampsia, then you had your second pregnancy, and you still at 6 months hadn't seen a doctor, and you're like, hello, I'm high risk, but you're not treating me like high risk.
Yes, it was 6 months. They had not tested me for preeclampsia. It had been 6 months and I hadn't had any urine analysis, and so it was at that moment that I said, we haven't seen a doctor, we're not tested for preeclampsia, and this just doesn't feel right. I have to fight for my baby, I have to fight for my family, and that's what I did.
Well, the CDC is starting a brand new campaign called Hear Her. So go to the CDC website for lots more information about this. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I wanted to thank you both, Heather and Demitri Wilson, co-founders of Kennedy's Angel Gowns. Thank you for your tremendous work.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for allowing us to share our story.
My pleasure. And that's it for this edition of Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.